Welcome to Bursting Boobies Work Edition, where Tilly's work comeback brings a roller coaster of emotions and Dan faces a vomit volcano with heroic, if not slightly comedic, resolve. This episode, we're unraveling the chaotic beauty of sleep regression, workplace re-entry, and the unexpected adventures of parenting.
Welcome to Blabbering, a week-by-week glimpse into a couple stumbling through life with a newborn.
I'm Tilly.
And I'm Dan.
Each week over dinner,
You'll learn Tilly is quite the feeder.
we'll discuss the realities of raising our baby, talking through the highs, lows and honest confessions of this thing called parenting.
Parenting won't be easy, but let's at least laugh about it. This is Blabbering.
At week 16.
Yeah. 4 months, so sleep regression time now. So it's the period we're hitting into apparently, 4 months sleep regression. I didn't realise that apparently the wriggling she's doing at night is the sleep regression.
Okay, so it doesn't seem that bad.
Okie dokie. Take the booby. Right, careful, you're going to get milk in your eye.
Okay. Alrighty. The wriggling is sleep regression.
Apparently, but I don't believe that's as bad as it's going to get. I feel like let's prepare ourselves that it's going to get worse, and if it doesn't, happy days, but let's not lull ourselves into false sense of security.
Yeah, because otherwise it's not too bad, is it?
Yeah, which I feel like saying that means it's going to suddenly get really shitty now for us.
Well, you get what you get, and you got to get on with it. That's parenting, isn't it?
Exactly. It is indeed. So today we're doing another breakfast recording. What have you got? Your classic breakfast for the weekend?
So I've gone for all Aldi knockoffs. Well, Aldi or Lidl knockoffs. Lidl knockoff Wheatos, and then Aldi knockoff Crave.
I tell you, we better get sponsored by them at some point because we really do rep them. And this week we've gone crazy, and you're
not really down for their sponsorships
till now. This is what they want to be associated with. I've gone crazy, and you've got dairy milk, haven't you?
Oh yeah, the real deal.
Real deal.
Because they only do the shit version of Oatly at stores. They don't do my whole.
You only like the full fat Oatly, don't you? And then I've got a very exciting high protein strawberry yogurt pouch. Because Mama needs the protein.
And where's it from?
Little. But I also got some ones from Aldi this week. And Aldi, I've got to say, they do raspberry as well as strawberry. We were discussing this earlier. Raspberry, in our opinion, much superior to the strawberry flavour. It's got a little bit more tang to it, hasn't it? It's got more levels, more layered.
Yeah.
Sophisticated.
And also, strawberry is always like purposefully fake strawberry, I find.
Yeah, and I just think when it comes to berry flavours, I think raspberry is probably the best. Like strawberry is all right. Raspberry definitely better. Blueberry can go fuck itself. Blueberry's not really a flavour. When they try and make blueberry flavoured things, it just tastes so synthetic and grim. I love blueberries, but blueberry flavour can just die in a hole.
I mean, die in a hole's pretty full on.
Die in a hole.
All right then.
There's no place for it.
Alrighty, so yeah, so I definitely think stacks they're not as good.
No.
I find it disappointing when I was in restaurants.
I think a lot of things are just better made at home. Some things are just home food. Some things are restaurant food, I feel.
Like something like a steak, I understand why you'd order at a restaurant.
Yeah.
Because it takes skill.
Mm-hmm.
Something like pancakes, like unless you just walk out the room for 5 minutes, can't really fuck it up, can you?
A pancake. You can fuck a pancake. So you need to get the pan the right temperature for sure, and the batter the right consistency.
Yeah, but so the batter you're going to make. So I'm not counting that in the cooking process.
Okay.
Because some people just buy the pre-made batters.
Those are always disgusting, and I don't see how it makes your life that much easier, because pancakes are literally eggs, milk, flour, and you still have to add milk to them. So all you're doing is really missing out. It's an egg, and that's not exactly hard to add to batter, is that add an egg, or maybe 2 eggs. I don't think it makes your life that much easier, and it's so much worse.
Well, I'll be honest, I don't think I've ever had the pre-made batter.
Oh, well, where I was when I bought one, They're like, let's use this. And I was like, and it gets all lumpy as well because you often shake it in the bottle. And it's like thin, watery thing with little lumps in it. And I'm just like, ugh, come on. Just no. Absolutely not. In my family on Pancake Day, we used to have pancakes for dinner, but we always had to have one savoury first. It's like that made it somewhat healthy. There was never healthy ingredients. There was like ham and cheese in it or something, or just cheese. But you had to have one savoury pancake before you had your sweet. That was the rules.
Don't like them rules.
Oh no, you don't. We don't do that. We just have a sweet dinner.
Well, don't necessarily have to have them for dinner either.
No, but often we do have them for dinner. Depending on, because it's Tuesday. It's a work day. And this is thrilling content. Not just to make the cut. So let's dive into it. This week, I had my first day back at work. Didn't I?
Yeah, how did you find your first day back at work?
Well, it wasn't a full day to begin with, and I guess it wasn't like I wasn't doing much work. I was more just sort of going in, seeing people, trying to sort of get the lowdown of where we were, what's our plan for this year. From now until I go back, I'm going to be doing a day a week, so it's quite a nice way of easing myself in. It did feel strange going in because it's like everything's the same, but also it's different.
How's it different?
But it had a bit of new furniture, so physically there was a few little different things. There's been a few changes in staffing. And it's even basic things like where my boss works isn't where he used to work, so I was trying to find him. And just things like that. And I don't know, just I guess I'm different is more what it is, isn't it? The work's probably not that different. It's more that I'm different now. But you go and you start talking about things and you realise, oh, it's all the same problems as it was before. You know, it's all the same things that we've got to overcome and work through. That's fine. But also I feel like whereas before things seemed bigger to me, they seem smaller now. I guess there's a lot more perspective.
Yeah, your prioritization's changed.
Yeah.
So your perspectives are different.
Yeah, so I think that'll be the big change when I go back to work. Like it's not like I want to work less hard or anything like that, but I just feel like things are gonna bother me less or stress me less because I'll just be like, you know, it's not like I'm gonna work less hard to solve things. But I don't think things will seem like so big, as it were. But we'll see. It did feel strange being away from her. And then, of course, that day she decided she was going to vomit on you.
Well, no, we'll cover that in those.
Okay.
So cut all that.
Okay.
We're just talking about you.
Oh, okay. I would just say that you weren't having the best time.
Don't even talk about it. Just talk about it.
Well, that affects how I was enjoying my day, so I am going to talk about it. All right. Honestly, so bossy, isn't it, Zola? Yeah, it did feel strange being away from her. And I'm someone who's like, once I'm at work, I want to be working. And I wasn't, because obviously you're just getting back into flow of things. People are sort of just feeding bits of information. Like, oh, you're back. It's so nice to see you. Where's the blah, blah? How are you doing? And you're like, oh, I see you. And that's lovely. But I was like, I kind of want to be, give me some stuff to do.
Yeah.
Challenge my brain. And of course, my laptop locked me out, so I couldn't actually do any work anyway. So that's currently being. If it's disabled, is it re-abled? What's the.
Enabled.
Enabled. That's it, isn't it? Yeah, good English. So it's
going to be re-enabled, I think. Again, great content.
Yeah. So that's happening currently. But yeah, so it wasn't overly big. I came back and then my boobs were real full for her.
Because you didn't pump, did you?
No, because she's been scratching my tits up a lot, and when you've got broken skin, you can't really pump because it just pulls the blood out. Which is delightful. So no, couldn't pump. So it's sort of like a timing thing. Sort of fed her load as much as I could before I left, and then so I've sort of left it about 8. Got to work at about 9. By the time I left it about 1ish, I was just like, these melons are ripe for picking.
Taut.
Yeah.
Taut titties.
Very taut titties. So you got squared in the face with a lot of milk. Not you, Bubba. We've not tried that yet.
She walked through the door, just
in the face.
sprayed hose pipe.
Yeah, booby
Gotcha boobs.
booby bukkake. But yes, I guess that's the main big thing of the week. Otherwise, it's been quite a.
How did you find? Did you feel like you? Did you? How did you find missing her or not being there?
It wasn't too bad. I guess it was only like 6 hours or something I was away from her, really. But I guess I kept thinking about her lots because I wasn't doing much. I feel like if I was in work doing stuff, I wouldn't really be thinking about her as much because I'm focused on other things. But because like I was just sitting in on meetings and not fully in the stimulation, I was thinking about her a lot. Not necessarily being like, oh god, I need to be back with her. But I started thinking a lot about how it's going to be when I go back to work properly. And how am I going to feel about that? I think that's going to be very strange, not having my days with her.
And did you have any? I know a lot of mums say they do, but did you have any guilt as well?
Is that only that moment when I was leaving and she was gripping onto my finger and not letting go? After that, I felt right. And then when you said, sorry, that's what I leave. When your stuff happened, I was like, oh god, if I was there, that might not happen.
Well, it wouldn't have happened because it would have been. Yeah. Anyway, I'll discuss it because it would have been boob rather than bottle.
Otherwise, no, I was alright actually. I thought it would have felt worse, but I feel like I might come in more when I go back to it properly.
It's quite a big thing. A lot of mums really find that they feel very guilty when they go back.
But I can totally understand. But it's like we've spoken about a little bit previously. Also, the dichotomy, I'm not sure that's the right way of using it, but it makes me sound intelligent, so I'm going to say the dichotomy of you want to, well, for me personally, not all women, not all mums, not all parents, I should say. I want to go to work because I love my work. I love working, and also I want to be the example to her of like a woman in the workplace and doing well and being a boss. Or that girl boss. I don't like that term, girl boss. Just a boss.
What about boss bitch? Do you prefer that?
I shouldn't boss. Like, you don't need to put a gender on it, isn't it? If you're a boss, you're a boss, regardless of what gender you are. Also, I don't think boss bitch really works.
El jefe.
Yeah, el jefe. And show that I prioritise that. But I never want her to feel like she's less of a priority because she's always my most important. So it's that.
Until you have another child, she's equally important.
Yeah. Children are always going to be the most important thing.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully. I don't know, that is how it is. I don't want her to ever think, oh God, mum's working so much, I never see her, or like, I'm not a priority, she's got no time for me. I also don't want to miss things. I want to spend time with her and enjoy her. But I also want to do well in my career, and it's just this constant back and forth of how do you balance that?
Yeah.
Like, do I condense my hours and do 4 days a week? But then if I do that, I always want you to do that because I want it to be equal, and I want her to think that mum's career means less than dad's career, or dad's career means less than mum's career. I want to be like, their careers are important, we're important, we're all balanced people, and let's try to do that. And that's just a really hard thing to, because it's, for me, if I go, oh, I'd like to condense my hours down to 4 days a week because I'm now mum, people go, yeah, sure, of course, we understand that. Whereas for you, there's less of that because stereotypically men don't do that as much. So I think it's probably easier for me to do that. I'm probably going to be allowed to do it more easier, but I don't think necessarily but it probably still impacts my career.
Yeah. Also, my workplace, all my leadership team, ones who are males, all have wives who either stay at home or are, do like jobs that they don't really, aren't really career jobs.
Which is the same in my work.
And so, I'm very fortunate in that I've got, so there's 3 leadership positions, a partner and 2 MDs.
Yeah.
One of the MDs is female. And so she, she's always talking about the fact there is no work-life balance, there's no work-life integration. And you've got to work out how you juggle those priorities of sort of child and work And sometimes you'll have appointments during the day or things you have to go during the day. Sometimes you'll also have deadlines. And so maybe it means that you have to miss a kid's game to go, join a Zoom meeting, or maybe it means that you're not available for half the day because you're at a children's play and you're not back on in the evening. You just so she's much more about sort of keeping it fluid as each one needs. But then sort of there's this other view, which is kind of like you're working and you're working or you're not working. But the problem is they expect you to be working during work time. And then if there's something important, working then as well, if that makes sense. It's not that you have to, it is, they are grateful for it. It's not an expectation, it is thank you for doing it. Well, it's half expected, as it were. Like, you could say no, but but then that means you end up doing far more work, because you're doing the work during the work doesn't mean you're doing the whole work. Whereas she uses the belief as kind of, if there's nothing else, have that quality time with family.
Mm-hmm.
So,
that has often been behind women in leadership roles.
Yeah, and I think, I've been considering it more, and I think I'd be more intrigued by working for a female leader now than,
That's exactly what I've been thinking.
than sort of a male leader, just because also I'm much more intrigued by a lot more of the soft skills of a lot of my work now. I also just find that all the hard skills, because I work in finance, can just be learned online, or I can buy tests, or I can go on courses. And when I look at leadership teams, I currently don't see huge amounts of, they're good at soft skills, but I don't necessarily think, oh wow, they're, incredible.
Good enough.
And often women are better at soft skills.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think stereotypically in society, we're taught that's of value. To us, it's much more of how we're socialised. That's a bigger part of it.
Well, from a very young age, we're taught about
Nurturing.
not just nurturing, but the importance of relationships in terms of a means.
Yeah.
Whereas boys are always kind of just taught, through rough and tumble, or through winning at sport and stuff like that. And the problem is, those things are often very status and very myopic, in that it's all about winning, which means that someone else has to lose, which is myopic, because that's very, you can't keep beating other people and they want to come back and play with you. And so I kind of, for the last 3-4 years, had the view that I want to start trying to set up a longer term career, as it were, something where I start finding really good relationships and just investing in them, and then the people that I spend the next 20-30 years in my career, in my network, doing business, those sorts of things. And I'm not saying that, my leadership team don't do that. They definitely do have those networks. They do have, and I also, the other caveat is I don't actually see that much necessarily, but I don't get the feeling from what they say or how they act that they are, I would say, pinnacles or leading examples of it, as it were.
Yeah.
I do know a few from previous workplaces, and it was always interesting to see how they did it. What were we going with that? We were discussing condensing hours, weren't we?
Well, I guess the work-family balance.
I think I'd be more open to condensing hours on our second child, because that's like roughly 2 years away.
Yeah.
And so hopefully I'll be a bit more established in my career, because we've had kids quite young compared to most people.
See, it's funny, isn't it? People say that to us, but for me, I feel like we've had them not old, but definitely not young.
Compared to people nowadays,
Yeah, people having kids older.
Most people are getting to sort of management and above level. Not above, but you get what I mean, like mid to mid-high management, as it were, and then having kids. Because you've got a lot more oversight of your day and stuff like that. You have a bit more control over your time.
Yeah, I think people are thinking about when they have kids a lot more, like the timing with regards to their career.
Yeah. which for us wasn't really a factor because we always had the view that it's the priority.
Yeah.
So we will affect her. At the same time, it's not so much of a priority that just giving up career. We're
No.
trying to work out how to balance it. And I also I feel like it's more important once you have two, because we've spoken about this. We very much want to try and give the second child as much attention as possible so that they are as attached, as calm, as sort of well adjusted as the first one is. Because the first one
Gets all your attention.
goes down, gets all the attention, gets, you're constantly thinking, oh, what's the next thing that I should be doing for her? Oh, is this what she should be doing now? How can I help with this? How can I? Whereas the second kid, they just kind of muddle along. And they're in a fortunate position that they are second, so they can watch what to do and develop quicker that way.
And you know what you're doing more.
But I think that they often emotionally suffer because they don't have the same undivided attention. I'm not saying obviously that I could provide undivided attention, but I'm saying that if we both did 1 day less work a week,
We'd have more time to divide and conquer, really. You need more time, don't you, to be able to give them that amount of time. Yeah, I agree.
And it won't be the same time either, because right now you can be completely undivided, focused on her, whereas you're never going to be able to when there's two.
No.
You can sort of say, look, I'm trying to focus on your little brother or sister right now. Do you mind just going and doing X, Y, Z? And I'll, come see you.
There's a lot of understanding from
with
2 or 3 or...
Just whack Olivia on. And so, yeah, I think that's my view of, I think that's where I got to with all that. I'll ask about it, but I also just feel like currently I would sit there being a bit itchy because I don't know what I'm going to do on that day. I don't, not great to say, but I don't find it very stimulating.
No, I get it.
And in my career, I also feel like I'm behind. So those two factors together, sitting there going, not really doing it, just here, and then also being like, but I'm behind.
Yeah.
It then creates this kind of like tension, which means that I'm not great at being a parent anyway, because I'm just sat there.
You are?
No, if that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, no, I understand.
So if I'm sat there wishing that I was working because I'm worried that I'm falling further behind from where I already feel behind, you're just going to kind of not be, a fun carer. And that's my own thing that I've got to deal with in terms of, I do definitely want to be better at sort of being more present and aware.
Yeah, and I think that's going to get easier as she does get more engaging. Like, you've already had that as she's starting to interact with you more. And when you have your months off with her, that's going to be through a period where she is getting more, like she's going to start crawling and things, and she's going to start weaning, and she's starting to sort of chatter away now, and that's going to become more and more. She might start saying her first couple of words and things. So there's going to be a lot more engagement and interaction. And so I think post actually your time off with her, I think you'll find it a lot easier. Yeah.
But I do sometimes find that now, like often when I've got her, if she starts crying and crying, I'll do the thing of kind of like changing an nappy. I might know she's only just been fed, so I'm like, well, she doesn't need more food. And then all I need to do is come down and watch she sees you, she kind of stops crying.
Yeah.
And that kind of feels a bit annoying because I'm like, well, what am I meant to do here? I can't. So I just need to fill the house with pictures of you, like cardboard cutout.
I have seen pictures. Have you seen those like dads are looking after the baby and they stick a picture of like mum on their forehead while they're feeding the baby?
Yeah, stuff like that. Because often it just feels like currently I can only go so far, as it were, and so as much as I try, I'm not a sufficient. Well, I am sufficient, but I'm not an equal substitute, as it were, in terms of care.
Well, that's a combination of both. Obviously, I breastfeed her, and I spend the majority of my time with her.
And you're also fortunate in that breastfeeding involves a lot of skin on skin contact. So feeling it
pops off more. I was saying, we need to do another skin on skin day, so maybe that's our day tomorrow. Yeah. Tops off. Ooh.
Because a lot of, going back to the point we were talking about those guilt, I know a lot of people have kind of rushed back because of this career worry, and then they've just felt really guilty about it.
Wasn't it? Sorry, carry on.
You can't really get that back.
I think that's the thing. I think later on, and people go, at the time you get rushed back, you go, oh, my career. But then your kids get to 10, 15, 18, that you're grown up, whatever. And you go, do you know what, actually, for the tiny amount that actually increased my career, whatever, it wasn't worth it. Like, I'm never getting that time back with my kids, because you won't. And ultimately, if it means that our careers are stunted by a couple of years, does it really matter?
Well, that's kind of the process that I'm going.
But that's hard to get your head around, because we are both career-driven people, and both of us want to be going further and further.
That's very much the process that I'm going through right now, and that for the last sort of 6 to 9 months, I've kind of felt a bit like, is it worth going elsewhere to learn more or learn different skills? But at the same time, I know that if I did leave, I wouldn't have got paternity, because you've got to be there for a certain amount of time. At the same time, I probably wouldn't get the same shared parental, which is an absolute privilege, and I'm very grateful to my work for that. And so in this case, I'm kind of accepting, okay, I'm effectively going to lose 9 months to a year of my career in a period that I deem to be quite important.
Yeah.
Because I do view her as a priority.
Yeah.
And it's a bit of a process of the acceptance of that. Like I said before, I feel behind, as it were. But no one lies in their deathbed and says,
thank God I got that little bit further in my career.
And also, I think that often people talk about this thing called legacy. And if you believe in this idea of kind of the fact that generationally you kind of you build character and nurture personality, as it were, because every generation tries to be better than the one before them through being more aware, being more moral, being more effective, being more sort of prioritise all this sort of thing. That is the truest form of legacy, is what you do for your kids and your grandkids.
Yeah.
Because I always kind of think about it, and I go like, in 100 years, at best 300 years, I'll be forgotten. Even if I'm fucking Elon Musk or Steve Jobs, I will be forgotten.
Yeah.
There'll be no one. And that's fine. That's good. I want that, because it means that other people can be some. But you could have fucked up a generation, which can then fuck up another generation.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to turn the momentum or the inertia when you come from a very broken, neglected past. And so if you really, in my view, legacy isn't a thing of wealth or a thing of business or stuff like that. It's family in reality. And that doesn't have to be, that can include wealth, and you can create a very good family business that is, very aware of each other, and and stuff like that. But in reality, I think that's the greatest priority, and I think that it's the only thing that really survives the test of time.
No, I think that's both how we value it, isn't it?
Until we get taken over by AI.
Yeah. So I forgot my train of thought there. But yeah, she and any siblings she has after are our legacy and our top priority. Yeah, you are. It's like my pop was saying the other day, wasn't he? He's like looking at his grandkids. He's like, I will live forever now.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's true.
I like how when he looks at his kids, he doesn't think that. It's only once he gets his grandkids that he thinks he lives forever.
But I guess it's that there is something about securing your second generation almost, isn't there? I think that it's following on. Like your kids have reproduced.
And optimize the machine.
Yeah. But I think when it comes to the whole thing of not sort of putting too much of our headspace into our careers and risking not focusing enough on her, is that part of our self is very ego driven, isn't it? Work is very ego, definitely for us, I think it's particularly quite ego driven.
Oh, as in like the want to do well in work,
Yeah.
the ego part.
Yeah, I think you're looking very coy at me, you cutie. Whereas actually, there is definitely obviously ego part to your family, I think, but it's less ego driven.
Yeah.
It's deeper than that. I think it's more selfless than that. It's that wanting to make the next generation better, and that means working hard and doing things that aren't particularly enjoyable and putting the effort in, and the things that maybe don't make your life better or more enjoyable. I'm not saying she doesn't, of course she does, but like having a best career is more for yourself.
Yeah.
Like obviously, of course, you can get more financially secure and all sorts of things, but like even if we never earn more than we do now, we're fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like literally, if the house takes up like 50% of our post-tax earnings.
Yeah. I'm not saying we're in an ideal situation. We're not.
No, I know. What I'm saying is like this house could last us for the rest of our time, as it were.
Yeah.
And we can afford it now. And so yeah, like you say, yeah, we wouldn't. If we stayed at our earnings currently, we're very fortunate now.
Yeah. So it's not like financially we have to do better. We're doing better because we want to do better, to challenge ourselves and to stroke our egos and make people like, yeah, I'm good at what I do and I'm going to be a champion in my area or whatever. I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
But it's not a necessity. Whereas I view being a good parent to her as a necessity.
Yes.
It's a non-negotiable.
It is a non-negotiable, but I also think that part of that is showing her the importance of hard work.
No, I agree.
So it is, and I know you agree because this is literally what you talk about a little bit earlier. But I'm just, bringing it back to the conversation. And so it's about understanding at what point does that value break almost.
Yeah.
And what if work is a lower priority, but also partly a priority of the first priority, it gets very hard to work out, where you're doing work to set an example and where you're doing work just for your own benefit. And it's fine if it's for your own benefit as long as it's not a detriment. But it's when you start lying to yourself and saying, I'm setting an example, when in reality you're being neglectful as well.
Yeah, like you're just not there.
Yeah.
Because actually your child doesn't see you at work, really. They know that you're going to work and so they might know roughly what you do for work. But actually past a certain point, you're not being a good example anymore.
Yeah.
You're just not there.
And it's also, what are you showing them? If it's in reality, if they're not seeing what you're doing at work, what you're actually showing them is dedication and grit and determination. And there are much more effective ways that you can show that literally to them.
Yeah.
And so that is a very good point in terms of, unless you actually bring your kid to your work, which I hope to be able to do.
Yeah.
You can be a little finance bunny. So,
well, if I bring you into the kitchens, they're going to love you. Obviously, probably not into the actual kitchens.
Please, cooking in the kitchen.
Yeah, by the fryer. Sharp knives. Commercial shredders and things. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe I need to get the steel out for the knives.
Yeah. That's what you should do for your nails. Your claws. Use a little knife.
But also, I do want to show to her, like, we came from a generation where to do well, you had to work hard, not smart. So the idea of working smart is very new, isn't it? It's very much of our generation, sort of. It's a millennial thing, isn't it? The idea of working smart, not hard.
That's because of technology and the work.
Yeah. And so that's something that I definitely want to show to her, is that you should work hard, absolutely. Like, you should strive and challenge yourself. But it's not about killing yourself for the sake of killing yourself.
Yeah.
Like, there are going to be times where you have to do that. Where you've got to knuckle down and just get through it.
I think the misconception is working hard means hours.
Yes.
Whereas in reality, working hard means, in an age of working smart, means sacrifices.
Yeah.
And making sure that you and prioritize priority focused sacrifices as well.
Mm.
Most people just think, oh, I did 10 hours or whatever. When in reality, you could probably do in 3 hours something that's more effective because you worked with technology, but you might be resistant to doing that because you might feel ignorant or dumb because it requires you to go learn from a year 10 IT textbook, and you think to yourself,
I'm better than that.
I've got a degree in, I don't know, liberal arts. Why do I have to do year 10 textbook IT or whatever?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, actually, it allows you to do the job that would take you 10 hours of time in 3 hours.
But I think this will be a constant conversation. Well, it has to be. It should be. It should be a constant conversation. It should be one that we continually come back to throughout our kids' childhoods. Obviously, once they're fully grown.
Because it is a constant balancing act.
And it will change as they get older. Like what they need is going to change. The times they're going to need from us is going to differ. The needs of our careers are going to change. It is going to need to be a constant. Something we come back to. They're never going to be like, we've cracked it.
Just saying it right now, we've cracked it.
Absolutely correct.
Okay, well, unless you have anything else to discuss, we'll probably move on to highs, lows, funny.
I was going to say, one last thing on that. We're actually going to do our weekly planning this week, aren't we? After this, we're going to pop into town, so I've got to return something, and then we're going to spend a little bit of time in a coffee shop, and we're actually going to plan our week out, because we mean to do this every week to keep on top of us, our goals, our life, our priorities, our metrics, which was not really but now it's the end of Jan, we should probably do January. So we're going to do that today. Anyway.
Full metrics, basically.
Yeah, I don't think we do metrics each week. I think metrics can be monthly, but we'll try and plan our weeks weekly, obviously.
Hi guys, thank you very much for listening. We really appreciate it. And if you're enjoying it, please let us know by leaving a review or sending us some feedback. The email is blabberingpod@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your stories, any feedback, any news, any thoughts. Also, you can find us on Instagram. The handle is blabberingpod. We're active on there as well, so you could DM us. And if you've got 5 seconds, please leave a rating. If you've got a bit more, please leave a review. The words are very helpful. And give us a follow. Cheers. Enjoy the rest of the episode.
Okay, so highs, lows, funnies. Shall I go first?
You can go first, my darling.
Okay, so let's start with low.
Okay.
So I actually managed to, I thought I'd locked in my low on Monday. Because so every week we end up getting to this point of being stumped because we're like, oh shit, I haven't worked out my high-low phone, we're scrambling.
Not very well organised.
Try and work it out. And so on Monday, when I had this, I was like, great.
Smug.
Yes, smug. Put it straight in the...
I remember seeing you playing your phone, you're like, I've sorted it already. I was like, all right, good for you.
I love how I was so smug about having a low moment. Like, had a low moment, I've recorded it. And so there was a bit of a bloodbath, wasn't there, baby girl? So I tried to cut her nails, and she was moving her hand at the same time. And so I clipped the very end. And then it just bled and bled and bled. And she kept like flicking it around and grabbing it.
It's like the dogs all over again.
So there was just, blood all over the place. And then she kept grabbing her face, and her hand was just full of blood. My face was covered in blood. So I then came down to see you, and you were like, oh my gosh, what was happening? And I was like, no, it's fine. It's just a nail. She moved it and I ended up catching the end of your finger.
Yeah, hands do piss blood. It's like feet, isn't it? Hands.
But it's mad how much they've grown back. Like I cut that whole, all those fingers on that hand.
No, we need to cut them again today because my boobs are paying for it at the moment.
Yeah.
Next feed.
Yeah, that's the trick.
Yes.
So I thought that was my bad. But no, like you said on Thursday when you went to work. So I was going to try and take a day off on that Thursday to try to look after her. Because we said to your mum that she didn't have to come around because I thought I could try and do both. I was wrong. And so I had a few important meetings because I hadn't had loads of kind of client work. I was quite excited to have client meetings, and so I didn't really want to take a day off and miss those meetings. And so I decided that I'd try and do both. And so, but as I found out, she's actually a bit too young for that, or I'm not well enough versed for that. So I thought, do you know what? I'll be really smart. I'll put her in the papoose facing forwards, and that way I can crack on with everything. She can just watch stuff, and I can keep it. So I was there trying to feed. I was feeding her facing forwards while also like she would have a hand on my laptop, continuing all my stuff, just feeding her. But it meant that I didn't burp. And so I then got to the point where I was like, well, okay, she's finished feeding, she's starting to get sleepy. So I put her in the pram, was rocking her to sleep, and she fell asleep. I was like, brilliant, okay, she's fallen asleep. Let's go downstairs. We had some workmen doing some stuff on the outside of the house. Was like, hey guys, do you guys want a coffee? They're like, yeah. So I came back into the kitchen and was making myself a tea, then some coffee. And then just out the corner of my ears, I heard this spluttering. And I was like, oh shit. And so I then sprinted upstairs to find her sort of lying in her cot, not her cot, in her pram, just spluttering to herself. And that's like, pick her up straight away. So she then vomited. I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I just carried her home. And then she kept just vomiting and vomiting and vomiting. She vomited, I think, 3-4 times. At one point, it was such a like explosive vomit that it came through her nose, and babies breathe through their noses. And so she then was struggling to breathe, and I panicked. And so I was just holding her by her chest and just clasping her back, trying to get it all out through her airways and stuff like that. So she then was obviously really irate and stirred up because she had already been sort of flustered by the fact that she was struggling to breathe. And so I then had to go like clear out her nose. Which is waving condoms at it.
They're bright pink, yeah.
So I then had to go try and clear out her nose. So it meant that I basically had to squirt water up her nose when she's already pretty pissed off, pretty irate. So it just kept building this kind of frustration. So once I kind of got it out of her nose, I was like, okay, got to go give her a bath. And so this whole time she's like incredibly worked up. She's not kind of calmed down this whole point. So I took her upstairs, kind of filled up the yellow tub, put her in. I was hoping that like the warm water and everything should calm down. She didn't really, so I was like, okay, fuck, let's just get on with this. And then I can redress her and calm her down and everything and work, just focus on calming her down once I've done everything. And so I then obviously had to kind of pour water over her face because she had vomit all over her face. It just exploded down through her nose, her mouth, and like bounced back onto her face. So she obviously absolutely hated just having water poured all over her face. So again, more and more irate. And while she was in there, she was flailing about, and you managed to nut something. I'm not quite sure what it was that you nutted. So you now have a little Harry Potter mark on your forehead.
I mean, barely. It's a little.
Fine, a very little scab on her forehead from where she decided to.
Which, of course, I came home to and was like, what have you done again to her?
And so eventually everything calmed down. Well, no, even after that, I went through 3 T-shirts. I went through one in the beginning for the first load of sick, got changed, went for a second, and then after I washed and everything like that, she threw up on me again. And so, yeah, I was on my 4th T-shirt by the time you came home.
And then which she basically constantly fed for a few hours. She sort of fed, slept.
All that had obviously absolutely exhausted her.
Yeah.
And so she was then just knocked out. She went straight back to sleep and just slept solidly for like an hour and a half until you came home. And then, yeah, just boobie and sleep.
Yeah. Yeah. She's loving these condoms.
So that was my...
You make your nana proud. My mum is a sexual health advisor for NHS. Not that she's like... don't know what else that would mean she was, but yeah.
So yeah, that was my low on Thursday. That was quite a traumatic process of being like, oh fuck, this is my fault because I should have fed her slowly and burped her, and I should have just focused on one thing at a time, and then being like, oh my gosh, this is really bad, she's not breathing, and then going like, okay, fine, I have to try and clear out her nose, I have to wash her, and then it just it not going right at any turn, basically. And so that was quite
Well, what have we learned?
cortisol inducing.
We can't currently work and look after her.
No, I think 4 months, everyone out there, by the way, 4 months is quite hard to do proper work and do proper childcare. She doesn't have regimented enough naps that I can plan when I work. And she also kind of is in that annoying stage whereby she either needs undivided attention or no attention. You can't like strategically place attention.
She's dribbling on your daddy's leg.
All down my bare leg. Thank you. So that was my low.
Yeah.
Do you want to do your low?
My low high is a combi.
Oh, okay. Do you want to see my high then?
So you can give your high, yeah.
So my high is a bit of forgotten her name now. Lizzo. We've been enjoying.
Yes.
Enjoying a lot of Lizzo, haven't we, little girl? Specifically, To Be Loved. Open bracket. Are you ready? Close bracket. That's now your theme tune, isn't it? We dance around singing it. Dance around singing it to you. So that's been played a lot this week, pretty much twice a day, every day.
Yeah, we don't really sing it very well.
We're phenomenal.
Dan doesn't understand cadence when it comes to singing, and I just can't sing, and also we just miss out half the words to make it more kiddie song sounding.
So she's been enjoying us dancing around to that or dancing with her on that.
I like how most people like, raise their kids with like, you know, playing the nursery rhymes, and we go with Lizzo and waving condoms in their face. Modern day parenting.
So that's my high. It's been very nice to sort of have dance up, and I'm going to create my own little playlist, daily dancing.
I think we should get. I'm edging one more to getting like an Alexa or something like that. I do quite like the idea of having like that.
Yeah, something's fun on your life.
Whatever. Like if our phones listen to us anyway, who gives a shit anymore?
I don't think our shit phones listen to
I don't know, because when we talk, I then see stuff come on Instagram. I was talking about windows, and then okay, we're getting window adverts, and then like all these sorts of things. So I don't know. I don't know. I think even our shit phones listen to us. Okay, so I guess like going into work was it's not even like a high low, because it wasn't that extreme, but it was a combi. Like I said, it was just it was a lot of things going on that day. And also what I didn't expect actually from going in was that I would be quite so not overwhelmed, it sounds really extreme, but slightly overwhelmed, I suppose, by being around so many people again.
Yeah, that was something for me post-COVID.
Because I didn't feel that post-COVID. It wasn't bothered by that post-COVID, but I guess it's just been focused on with her, and actually just focused on one person. Even when I go out in the streets, I'm focused on her. And sometimes getting to a point where actually I have to focus actually on a lot of people.
Yeah.
Again, I wasn't like, oh god, it's too much. It was just sort of like, oh, I'm not used to this actually anymore. And so I guess it's just, again, like most things, it's going to be a readjustment. Yes, it's going to be readjustment. So that was a bit of a weird one, but it also felt really nice being back in work. I liked seeing all my colleagues. That was lovely. Being like, oh hi, how are you doing? Oh yeah, how's baby? And having a nice little catch up with everyone, because I worked with a lot of lovely people. And so actually, I didn't realise I'd missed them actually until I started going.
Yeah.
So I went back into work. I was like, I don't actually have missed these interactions of you. You forget because you do them every day. You don't really value them actually. I don't think.
No.
And then I've not really had time to miss them because I've been focused on her. So I didn't realise that I was missing it until I went in and was chatting with them. I was like, oh yeah, I like these people. I like they're part of my life most of the time. So I guess that was a combi highlight. And then I can't remember. This might.
What? I'm confused by what aspects of the life. So the high.
So it's the overwhelmingness, I suppose, of it.
The high then is that you liked it. Is that right?
Yeah.
You realised you missed it, and you were glad that you reconnected.
Yeah.
It was a bit overwhelming. So many people.
Yeah. Also, I can't remember. This might be another high. I might say it last week. My days and weeks blur. Did I talk about painting and feeding her at the same time last week? Oh, then that's gone. That was one of my highs from last week then. I did feel like a boss though doing that.
Well, you can talk about it again. It's not like anyone listens to it every week. Don't talk about it.
No, I definitely feel like I'm getting better at doing things with her now, like combi doing stuff. Like certain things I can breastfeed and do other things, which makes me feel like, oh, that's nice. I'm not just having to sit down and feed her. Yeah. Some things I can't do, but it is nice being able to do that. I'm thinking more about getting one of those like feeding slings.
Yeah.
Because that'd be good. So I guess that's my sort of high lows this week. I have enjoyed our dancing, singing. She also likes 80s music. We'll just go with me. Oh, here's the condoms. Look, these are. I don't know if they're short, if they're ribbed or anything, but just. Oh, other condoms are available.
Yeah, we're losing out, so we need to be quick.
Okay, give me your funny.
Your funny first. You had a joke that you wanted to tell me.
That's so funny, but I just had a funny joke that I quite liked. Let me try to remember it now. What does a deaf gynecologist do?
Don't know.
They read lips. I just liked that. I thought that was great. So that's my joke. You're welcome, guys. Welcome to a new segment, Bad Joke of the Week.
And so do you have a funny, or do you want me to do mine?
Yeah, you do.
So I quite enjoyed, I think it was like Tuesday or whatever, we were randomly just, because she can now start to try and taste food. So I let her try and taste some of my kiwi. And so she was looking at it and she wasn't quite sure about that. And then you tried to give us a banana off your finger. And she's currently not got that much head control. So she just opened her mouth and just nutted it. Like she tried to swallow the whole finger at once, like a shark.
But it just stuck to her lip, didn't it?
And then it just stuck to her lips and didn't get it in her mouth. But it was just quite funny because it looked like she was sort of SeaWorld killer whale coming up to grab the banana. When in fact she wasn't really that interested.
Oh, what's also been nice actually this week is that she started doing more tummy time, like pushed up, hasn't she? So she's putting on her tummy, and if we put her sort of arms underneath her shoulder, she'll hold herself up, and she's enjoying that a lot more. She's not a baby that likes being laid down, either front facing or on her back. She loves being sat up because you're just a nosy Nelly, aren't you? You want to see the world. You want to see the world. You want to watch people. You're like mama, like staring at people. As my family would say, I'm a bit of a starer. My funny is also a scat chat. So,
All right, do the intro noise.
Skilly-up-pa-pa-pa, scat chat. So yeah, my funny is actually not real. It's a dream. But a dream. We live the dream. Which I quite enjoyed. So basically, I was having a dream. I can't remember most of it, as the way with most dreams. But we were in bed. You were sat up at leaning against the headboard, just in bed. I was at the other end, changing her nappy, but she was sort of arse facing towards you. And then her nappy wasn't off yet. I was just sort of getting her clothes off, and then sort of like this poo started sort of fountaining out the side of her nappy. But it wasn't like normal poo. It looked almost like sick. It's like a beige colour.
Nice.
Like a sort of like porridgey beige, sort of plopping and fountaining out of her. I was like, oh, what a bit of a big one. And you were sort of laughing, like, enjoy. And sort of opened her nappy, pulled it down. I sort of like bent her legs back to give her a wipe. And as I did that, she shot shit out and it hit you in the face. And so she shot at the whole length of like the bed, gone all down the headboard, all over. But for some reason, you hadn't realised it was on your face in the dream. You're just carrying on. And you're like, oh God, I was looking at the headboard and like, God, that's a lot. And I was just like, it's all over your face. Can't you feel that poo on your face? Like the sicky poo. And you were just, yeah. And she just looked back at her and she looked really proud of herself. And I was like, I also thought it was really funny on the weekend how disgusted your mum was at the idea of us swearing around her. And then we were joking, I think it would be really funny if her first word was cunt. Oh, Bobby, you're playing with the mic. Come on now. You're trying to be professional here.
Okay. There you go. So this is from Lynn's on Twitter now, X formerly Twitter, sorry. Preschool teacher here. Once had a kiddo messing around with his chair at lunch in an unsafe way. So after warnings, I took it away. He silently sat on the floor and a few minutes later looked at me with a shit-eating grin and went, I pooped. The most horrific, massive blowout ever from spite. Imagine that. Spiteful pooing.
I can totally imagine that.
This is Alicia, and we were driving from Minnesota to Wisconsin and had literally just stopped at West Stop. We got back in the car, and within minutes, my cousin, who was sitting in the back with baby, said, I think he poops. So next exit, we get off and stop at a gas station. Since I just changed him, I grabbed a diaper from the white side of the diaper bag, scooped the baby up, and ran into the gas station. I got into the bathroom, laid him down on the changing table, and he was covered, neck to toe. I peeled off his jumper and threw it in the trash, started wiping and realised this was not going to be sufficient. I stuck it in the sink and started panicking about what to do next. I had a diaper that was in the teens, so taking him back in the teens. Don't know what that was.
No.
I had a diaper, but it was in the teens. So taking him back to the car mostly naked. Oh, it was in the temperature, was in the teens. I had a diaper, but it was in the teens. So taking him back to the car mostly naked wasn't ideal.
Oh, they're talking about Fahrenheit, aren't they?
I had a diaper, but it was in the teens. So taking him back to the car mostly naked wasn't ideal. Luckily, a very nice woman asked if there was anything she could do to help. So I described our car and asked her to go tell my husband that I needed the diaper bag. She walked out and found him standing outside the ladies' room. I took so long he got worried. That story has been dubbed by my cousin the time the baby pooped his socks. I'll be up this
Yeah, we've got Squirmy Bubba.
Yeah. Adios.
Latest potatoes. Oh, next week we can update on recording food.
Oh,
What's that be? Fun times. Watch out for that.
Ciao.
Bye.
Hi, my lovelies. Thank you for listening. Can you please like, review, and subscribe to our podcast?